he was like, I was like, well, can you make some money? Can you travel the world? He's like, well, my dad makes $50 an hour. I was asking for years, and then I had the decision to say, do I start something on my own or do I keep going here? Because they were great. It took me 8 years to really feel comfortable at supermarket refrigeration. Now I'm doing it in less than two. You hear a piece of equipment start up and they're like, oh my God, this is starting to work. And a lot of people out there that would love to do this job, but they just don't even know it exists.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Ilana Kuchenbart for Refrigeration Industry, and I'm joined today by someone that should be familiar to you guys by now, Trevor Matthews. Trevor is the founder of Refrigeration Mentor, a leader in refrigeration training who helps technicians and companies build real confidence to reduce their callbacks and raise standards across the industry. Very important work there. Welcome, Trevor.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm always very happy to see you on my LinkedIn feed. As I told you, your video is always very interesting and educational. So I can't wait to hear more about your journey into refrigeration.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's what a lot of people I meet from around the world. I travel all over the world for trainings and events, and one of the things is that they like, man, I really like your education videos on LinkedIn. So, thank you.
They're not boring, which is helpful. So let's go back to the beginning. How did you first get into refrigeration? Was this a deliberate choice or one of those careers that just found you?
Yeah, it was a career definitely that found me. I went to university first, and I took business, so that was the thing that you had to do, and still kind of the thing today. Like, not going to get a job if you don't get like a degree or a diploma from university. So, I went and did that. I spent a few years doing that, and then I got a diploma and stuff, and then I needed to go get a job to pay for all the student loans I borrowed. Because I had to borrow like $40,000 to go to school, 30 or $40,000, and then I was going back to school to take another program to travel. So I was going to actually become a bartender. That's what I was looking at because you can be a bartender around the world. Usually that you can get a job anyway, not a high paying one usually, but you get a job. And then when I was going to register for that and I was going to open house, I think it was an open house, but when I was going back to school, I was chatting with a guy kind of just like I always do. Like I love conversations. And he was like, yeah, I asked him what he's here for. And he says like, I'm going to take HVAC program. I'm like, what's that? Well, my dad's a refrigeration technician and I'm going to try to get into commercial refrigeration. And I'm just like, what is that? Well, you go to a supermarket and you go to the tobacco store and you buy milk. And I'm like, yeah, I've done that before. And then he was like, well, people need to install that, service and maintain that. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm like, no big deal. Like, didn't have a clue at all about HVAC or refrigerator because we didn't have any air conditioning or any heating. Like, I think we had a wood stove or an oil stove where I was from, no air condition. So he was like, I was like, well, can you make some money? Can you travel the world? He's like, well, my dad makes $50 an hour. So that's when I signed up for an HVAC program. And that was back in 2003, 2004. So
It usually happens that way. Hey, like you never hear about HVAC or refrigeration in your day-to-day life.
no, and that's the big thing. Like I do really a lot of proactive work in getting the message out there to people that don't know about refrigeration. But most of the time, it's like, oh, my fridge in my house. You know what I mean? Well, that is appliance repair, but it's not really commercial refrigeration. So,
I think a
as you
lot of
know,
people, yeah, people think it's very boring when it's in fact literally one of the most important things in the world. But I guess we're biased.
yeah, definitely we are.
So, I mean, you clearly have a lot of over these years since you started now gained a lot of like expertise and skills in this field, like in refrigeration particularly. Like how did you build that career and that skills? What happened after that? How did you get to here?
Yeah, so I took that first program. So I went to university. I didn't do very well, I'll be honestly, because I just was partying and enjoying my time and being on your own at 17, 18 years old in your own place. And it was, but when I finished school and I didn't do very well, I passed, but I didn't do very well. I was like, I got to be serious about this next venture. So I did a year program. It was a full year program of HVAC and gas fitting. So I got a gas license, the introductory gas license, and then I got a oil burner license. Two tickets there. But I was really intrigued with commercial refrigeration. I don't know why, but it's like, oh, I want to get into supermarket because I still had it in my brain, $50 an hour. That I guess from supermarket from the guy who was talking with, and so from there I needed to get a job after I finished. I got a certificate. And, I just kept studying, and I had to get a job in Canada. So Canada's a big place. So where I was
Mm.
living at the time was in Ontario, but I was actually living in Hawaii at that time. But I had to get a job, and I found out Alberta, like Google wasn't the way it is today. It's like there wasn't really, it was yellow pages and stuff. So I was going on Google, and I found this company in Western Canada, and they were one of the top refrigeration contractors in Western Canada. So I found somebody's phone number. I don't even know how. And I remember how, and then I made a phone call, and they're like, Trevor, if you come here, we'll get you a job, because it was
Oh, wow.
booming at that time, Western Canada. So I moved to the opposite side of the country where I was originally from, and I started in construction, so installation and supermarket refrigeration, and that's really where I started to, break into the supermarket industry.
Oh, wow. So then at what moment did you decide from there to go on your own and get into mentoring and found Refrigeration Mentor? Was there a specific trigger or did it build up
Mm.
gradually to this?
Yeah, well, even back then, like when I started to learn how to do install and started doing a little bit better, putting cases together, and then I was getting better, and so they give me opportunity to pipe and then do controls and stuff. I always wanted to like start my own company. I thought I was going to
Okay.
have a service company, and then the years went on. I was still just learning, traveling, working with the job, because I'm traveled around the world and worked this job and made money lots of different places. And when I ran out of money, I just called somebody up and went and got a job and worked 3 months straight every day and made more money. So I was just like a uh, traveling, not a traveling gypsy, but just just doing whatever I wanted, really, because I could get work with refrigeration, because I had a refrigeration ticket, and I was okay. I wasn't awesome at, as the years go on, get better and better, but I was okay. I could fix the problems. Um, and then in 2014, I moved back to where I was living in Ontario, Canada, and I was working as a service technician. I was working 2 hours from my house at this company, for this company, from where I live. So it was a huge commute, 14 hours a day, which was fine. The thing is, I had kids coming, my first baby coming, and I'm like, man, I don't want to be doing 14 hours a day at this time. Like,
Oh,
I want to
no.
work local. I don't mind the long hours, but I didn't want to drive 2 hours just to get to a site, and then, 2 hours, so 4 hour commute. And I know lots of people do it out there, not even in refrigeration, just
Yeah.
living in the city. Sometimes that's what it is. You know what I mean? People are like, oh, refrigeration's so hard. Well, just an office job driving into a city like New York or Toronto or Vancouver is, it can be the same. And you're not even a service technician getting paid what we get paid. But then I was like, okay, I need to make a shift. And then I found a company called Emerson at the time, and they own Copeland, and I didn't know that at the time. So I was like, it was in where I was living at the time. They had an office. They're doing interviews, so I went in, and then I found out it was for Copeland. I'm like, man, I want to get this job, and I didn't think I was going to get the job, but then I did get the job, which was awesome. So that's really where I started to learn
Mm.
commercial refrigeration, heavy commercial refrigeration, because they taught me a lot there, and I learned a lot because I wanted to learn. But that's really when I started gaining a lot of compressor knowledge, CO2 knowledge, and supermarket knowledge.
I mean, they've got a massive footprint globally. There must have been so much knowledge there for you.
Yeah, one of the things is that I always wanted to continue to learn. I even when I worked there, I worked with a lot of people, and they're just, it's like anything, it's a job. You just go do your
Mhm.
job. But just like as a technician, I wanted to kind of do more, learn more, make more. So I just kept investing. So I would go into their database and look at the oldest presentations and just study them. And then I would go and I'd ask all questions. I'd call people all around the world, and I'd be asking them from in Germany or in the US or in Australia or wherever the expert controls, I would be reaching out to them and then finding more answers, because I was doing technical support, and then I became the national trainer. So I started training CO2 in 2015 under Andre Patenaude, who's a
Oh,
huge
yeah.
global leader for Copeland and CO2. So I was learning under him. Then I started training CO2 all around Canada, and then throughout the US in some spots. And then I just continued to love educating and training uh, businesses and contractors and technicians, really help them out. Because one of my roles was teaching them how to sell product, and sell their product through energy efficiency. So like adding drives to a rack, or digital compressors, or controls, or low condensing. So this is what I was tasked when I first started at Copeland, building business development. But it turned into more of a training role, because that's what I really like doing. And we were helping a lot of people at Copeland. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. I learned a lot there. But back in 2021, yeah, it was 2021, 2020, 2021, right near COVID, or during COVID, right in the middle of COVID. My boss worked really hard for years. to get me back to the original salary, things I was looking for 5, 6, 7 years. Working at a corporation, their hands are tied, right? A
Mm,
lot of times they're going by lists and numbers, depending on where you're at. This is what you get paid.
mm,
And finally, after 7 years, I got back to close, not even to my full technician wage. So I was still even working there 7 years, never got back to the wage that I was making as a technician, but I want to learn a lot of experience. And then they offered me the job. I'm like having a bunch of people underneath me, technical manager and support, which was great. I was asking for years. And then I had the decision to say, do I start something on my own or do I keep going here? Because they were great. Like most of these corporate refrigeration corporation companies, they're really good. Like
mm,
that's why you see people there 35, 40 years because they just treat them well, right?
mm.
And then I made a decision with my wife. We talked about it for a little bit, a few months, and we're like either now is the time to do it or not. So I had to tell my boss, no, I can't accept this promotion, and I'm actually gonna send my resignation in. So it was kind of a surprise, but he was happy for me,
Bit of a
and that's
scary
where
step.
Refrigeration Mentor started back in 2021.
Oh, wow. So it's your fifth year this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. I imagine it must have been tough in the beginning, starting something almost. I mean, you've known the industry, but really starting a company from nothing.
Yeah, well, most people still thought I worked for Copeland for the first year or two. So I was trying to separate myself a bit, you
Mm,
know what I mean? Just to know that I'm a training organization, that you know what I mean? It's a business. It's not just social media. It's not just
mm.
LinkedIn or YouTube. It's actually a business where we help contractors reduce callbacks, and decrease troubleshooting time, and phone calls to service managers and lead technicians to really speed up the process.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously you've worked on sites yourself. You've been a technician, so you have the background and the hands-on experience, and also to work under someone like Andre, it really just kind of all the paths came together perfectly for this, it seems.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like any business starting off with nothing,
Mm,
borrowing money and to get it up. But I just kept calling people and being consistent and doing lots of free stuff and until people started to realize, oh man, this is helping my business. And now it's like people consistently hire me. I got companies that put hundreds of technicians through our different programs because they're like, Trevor, you know what? Because I asked them, why do you hire me? It's like, Trevor, I don't get those calls that I used to get called before. I'm not getting called for these calls that technicians 2 or 3 or 4 years in should already know, or 5 or 6 or 7 years in, so it's just saving them that much time and then them actually solving harder problems, right? So that's really how we continue to grow.
and I mean, 5 years back, did you think you'd be where you are now? Is this where you wanted to get to? Did it exceed your
Oh, I got
expectations?
some big goals.
I
I
mean,
got
it
some big
sounds
goals.
like
I'm
you
glad.
do.
Yeah, I'm. No, it's fun. There's 5 people right now in Refrigeration Mentor, and we got a couple of part-time people, and then a bunch of subcontractors. But it's it's fun. It's a journey, right? And I'm
Mm,
still learning. There's so much to learn. It's like, how do I help a contractor and teach their technicians at a way faster scale than ever before? Like it took me 7, 8 years to really feel comfortable at supermarket refrigeration. Now I'm doing it in less than 2 for some people. You know what I mean?
mm.
Sometimes in less than a year, they get to a point where I didn't feel like I was at it 4 or 5 years. So just the way I'm learning to share knowledge and they gotta want to learn too. So there's some
Yeah.
people that aren't, that don't want to learn, but most of the people that get into the programs after I have a conversation with them and work with them and are the
Mm.
contractor, they understand the value because it brings them value. It brings when a technician feels confident can solve some of the hardest problems and not have to validate or call someone for help and then just fix the problem. It's so good for a business. Like at the end
No.
of the day, the business makes more money, they make more money, people are less stressed, and that's what I'm trying to do.
And it's empowering for the technician as well. They get to actually solve this problem and bring this value to their company. So it's very useful. But I mean, so who were your mentors? Clearly, like mentorship is very important in everything you do. Are this important, and who shaped you along your journey?
Oh, so probably my biggest one is probably Andre. Like when I was at Copeland, he would always answer questions or help me out. And there's quite a few people within the industry. Now I got lots. You know what I mean? There's so many different people from different manufacturers that they don't know they're a bit of a mentor for me, but I can reach out to them anytime. They help me out, and now it's more on the business side. I got a lot of coaches and mentors on the business side and marketing side to really help shape the business itself. So I have a lot of different coaches and then a lot of books. I've read a lot of books where back in 2019, before that, I was just reading technical manuals. I didn't really read books, but
Mm.
if I wanted to expand my career, I needed to learn some more of the mindset stuff. That's really what it is. Even when I do refrigeration trainings, a lot of this, when I talk to a technician or a business owner, is really mindset, the way they think about a problem, the way they think about their role, their job, their customer, the business itself. And when you can start to crack that, and technicians are more coachable. And what I mean by coachable, if I teach them something, they can actually go out and do it in the field, because that's the way our business is. It's all online. Like we don't do in-person training. It's all online, continuing education to technicians who know the fundamentals. They know how to use gauges safely. They know how to use meters safely. If they know how to do that, I can teach them how to be a really great technician and, you know, become, and it's from them. It's not me. It's just me
Mm.
guiding them. But if they're coachable, I can teach them how to be very successful in commercial refrigeration. And I've seen it. I've seen it with the lists of people who email me all the time and say, I just got a new job. I got a pay raise. I solved this hard problem that, man, nobody at my company was able to solve before. You know what I mean? And it's through these different trainings that have taken over the years. So I love hearing that stuff.
I mean, that really must make it worth it and make it help you get up in the morning and do what you do and put in the hard work. So, I mean, I don't think people realize how much mindset actually matters. Like you can learn everything you want in the world, but if you don't have the right mindset, so it's so important that you're teaching that as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now I mean, I was going to say, you sound like someone who genuinely loves what you do, but I mean, has it always been like that? Or is this passion developed over the time? Is this really now since you've been doing your own thing? Or what
Um,
makes this exciting
I
for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know when I started out, like I said, it was about money and travel.
Mm.
Like if I get my journeyman here in Canada's 5 year apprentice, 4 or 5 year apprentice. So you can't just grab gauges and be a technician. You gotta do all the certifications and all the
Mm.
schooling. And so it's a big process. But the big thing is that I wanted to travel. I wanted to go live in Australia. I did because of refrigeration. I wanted to travel to New Zealand. I did because of refrigeration. I wanted to travel different parts of the world. I did because of refrigeration. But it really, I think probably about 10 years ago when I started teaching technicians, that's where I started to grow a passion, because I was taking technical calls. For an example, people will call up and have these major issues with systems or compressors or things, and I would just sit there and talk with them, and I felt that I was there in their shoes before, right? No one
Mm.
to turn to, no one to call, and then they get a hold of me, and then I can walk them through a problem, and then all of a sudden you hear a piece of equipment start up and they're like, oh my god, or this is starting to work, and you can hear the relief in their voice, and they're just so happy, like that somebody was able to help them. And it's like anything, you're helping someone
Mm.
be successful at themselves. And once again, it's them doing it. It's not me. It's just me helping guide them.
It's so important, though. So, what do you think out of all of, I mean, you've listed so many things. I can't believe you fitted this all into your career already. But what achievements in your career thus far are you the most proud of? Like, what stands out for you?
Oh, there's lots. I think it's probably starting this business with my wife. I think that's what I'm most proud of. That she believed in me, stuck behind me, and actually is the COO of the company now, who's really running the operations of it. And it's a family business, so I think that's because it wasn't that when I started out, and like we founded it together, but I was really, she still had a full-time job and
Mm.
career, and looking after three kids, that's another full-time job. But over the last 2 years, she's really helped the business grow, and that's probably what I'm proudest about. On the technical side, I think I'm proud of just being able to have a conversation with a technician who I see wants to better their career, who wants to make a change. Change is really hard, and I see this happening consistently in different programs where technicians want to make a change, and that could be anything: change in a better electrical troubleshooting, changing wanting to learn more, changing to want to make more money or move up into a leadership role that they never thought they could was possible, and it's just helping them guide. So I think there's lots, there's so many things that I'm excited about as well as proud about.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm sure there'll be many more as well. So, I mean, are your training courses just for technicians, or what all does it cover and who is it for? Like, it sounds like you're doing a lot of things, but where is it also just for
Yeah.
Canadians? What is the scope?
Oh, yeah, great question. So basically, I was doing a lot of different trainings. We really focused now on it is contractor training. So we were doing design training. We were doing yeah, some chiller training. We were doing supermarket trainings, compressor trainings, controls training, all these different trainings. Now it's focused right on contractors and technicians, groups of technicians. So we build training programs. So if a contractor has 15 or 20 technicians that they can put in a program, that's our target market, mostly focus on supermarket. So commercial contractors, and I'll build a program for them. So, and what does that mean? So I get to know them. What do they struggle with? Is it an E2 or microthermal Danfoss controllers, wherever they're at in the world? And then I find out the equipment they're working on. Are they working on an Advancer or Teco or Hill or Zero Zone? And I find out actual equipment that they're working on. And then I build a program around that so they can go out and actually work on that specific equipment that we're training on. So it doesn't matter manufacturer. So, because my big thing about training, we're online. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't learn online. It's not hands-on. But the hands-on is actually after the Zoom session or the team session. The hands-on is them going out and checking the net oil pressure, or going in and setting up a board or a VFD or a digital compressor or so on and so a gas cooler, and them going out and coming back and say, okay, this is what I tried, or this is what I did, or whenever fine tuning, or not doing anything, just going and learning how to set up a case controller, for an example. So, and just getting them the confidence to do that. And it's all about the reps, right? Could they, and I get this a lot, like businesses have training inside their organization because they're large organizations. They have a whole training school, but they hire me as an outsource to really be a supplemental for them. So they'll send a group of technicians because they got to fly all their technicians in. It costs a lot of money to do that for a week. You know what I mean? And they look at our training and the cost of our training, what they're getting versus having to do that all the time. And it's just really a supplemental. And that's another thing that people hire me for, is that I can train in 5 different states, 5 different countries all at once. You know what I mean? Because I try to make it for that specific technician in the program or that contractor, right? Because they need them as a business to get the results of their equipment, not just a random manufacturer, that they might see once a year. I try to focus on the equipment they work on day to day and solve those tough problems.
So you really are flexible. You can fit into whatever the company or the technician needs and actually make it specifically for them. That's very useful.
Yeah. Yeah. So our biggest courses are CO2 and supermarket refrigeration and CO2 refrigeration. So rack applications. We do have a chiller program that I do. I partner with a manufacturer and do that. But all the other ones, we got a design course. We got other things that people are on demand, that if they want to go purchase like an on-demand pre-recorded one, they can do that. But for the live courses, we're focusing heavily on building culture and inside organization, helping these companies grow their teams, because it's real hard to find experienced technicians today. So what do we do? What you got to do is you got to help build them.
You got to grow that pool so there's more people to get from.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought up CO2. I mean, does that mean that there's more companies doing CO2 now in Canada? Like, are there more installations coming up? Like, are you seeing an increase in CO2?
Oh yeah. So I was at an event last week, IIAR, and Jan from Atmosphere. So he did a presentation, and I remember I went and looked back and tried to find, because the first time I've seen like a CO2 was probably from Sheco at the time. I think you might even work there part-time, like way back in the day.
I was the lead author on that report. Yeah.
Yeah.
The World
So
Guide
back
to
in
CO2,
2014. Yeah. So that report that you did, I think there was like less than 10,000 globally.
Oh yeah, the old ones. Yeah.
Transcritical one. I think that was 2014, 2015. I can't remember. And they just did one for 2025, and there's over 135,000, I think, installations, or 100 globally. You know what I mean? So In
Yeah.
just 12 years, there's that big. So in Canada, I think we're at like 2,500. There's 4 or 5,000 in the US. So it's growing. Even in South Africa, there's six or
Mm-hmm.
700 critical installations. So it's growing. Is it as big as HFC? And then no. So like a lot of my training is on supermarkets. So it doesn't matter the refrigerant for me because for me, it's to help the technicians, you know what I mean, or the
Mm-hmm.
contractors. At the end of the day, they're going to be working with whatever refrigerant. I need them to work safe, efficiently, and effectively to solve these hard problems. At the end of the day, it's just a refrigerant, right? So we got to just make sure that they can do it safely.
Yeah. I mean, like from all the things you've seen across your career, like what do you think are these big issues facing the industry, like the refrigeration industry, not just refrigerants, but
It's
like what are
training.
some, yeah, I was about to say
It's
training is so
training. I'll
prohibitive.
be honest with you. Like I talk with my friend Steve Gill. I think you know what Steve
Yeah.
Gill is, right? And he's been in doing this for 40 years. And he
Mm-hmm.
told me like Trevor in the 80s, it was the same conversation as in the 90s, as the same as in the 2000s. You know what I mean? It's like we
Yeah.
need more technicians. We need more people inside. So it's not only training, but it's the way we get people into the industry. Like we don't have a big enough voice for people because there's a lot of people out there that would love to do this job, but they just don't even know it exists.
Like Steve always says, you have to make it cool again.
Yeah,
Because it,
exactly.
like you even said, you didn't even know what the industry was before you got into it. I think it's got such a not bad rep out there, but it's just people don't know about it, and it's actually
That's
so
it.
interesting. Like it's that level of education that's missing.
And one thing, yeah, it's just like even women in the industry. Like I was doing
Mm,
a course just before this, and there's two. That's the most I've had, but two in one course, which is great to see that more contractors are hiring women as refrigeration technicians, and more women are getting into it because this is a job they could do. Like
yeah.
they're super smart. They have better, like not better, but very good detailing skills. They're detail oriented. The ones that I've trained and seen, and they can do this job. So why don't more? How do we get the word out to them? And we got women in HVAC in the U.S., women in
Mm,
HVAC Canada. So those organizations, but globally we could have a bigger presence as well with more women in this industry, as well as just letting people know, not even only women, but just letting people know that this is uh, an industry that you can do really well. And it can be a crappy job at some point, but every job can be crappy at some point. Like I said earlier, driving and working in the city, an office job, and you got to drive from outside of the city and train into the city. You know what I mean? Like, and your commute's 2.5 hours every day one way. Like, so
At least you make a difference with refrigeration. It literally affects every single sustainable development goal. And I don't think people realize that you can actually have a
yeah,
useful career as well.
yeah, exactly.
And I mean, and you're right, training comes up every report I did with Shenko Atmosphere. Every time we were like, what is the biggest barrier? Why isn't the market expanding for natural refrigerants? Anything, it's always been training. Like all of those EU projects, everything we did was like training. There isn't enough of it out there. So you've got a lot, you've got
And
your work
that's what
cut
we
out.
do. So
Yeah.
that's what we do. So send them here. We got lots of training. So.
So, I mean, I mean, you've been doing this for a couple of decades now. How has the refrigeration industry shifted or changed over that time? What has been the biggest change? What is different now than it was then?
There's a few things. I think one of the things that people don't understand, there's more, right? People keep saying, oh, well, we don't have enough people to do the work. There's just more people on the planet. We need more refrigeration. And so that's one thing. So we're growing at a rapid pace. We need cooling and refrigeration, like AI. Like, man, there's so many data centers that need cooling, that's refrigeration.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're shifting into, more environmentally friendly. People understand energy is going up. Like gas right now is crazy here in Canada because of the war going on, So now
Everywhere.
as energy prices go up and it's consistently go up, our power grids aren't getting any younger. You know what I mean? Like these power grids globally,
Mm.
you run into power. You had last week, for example, the power just went out. We couldn't do this session. You know what I mean? So globally,
Power
this is
went out
happening.
today. I mean, yeah, we constantly have those issues. Yeah.
And this is not, this is globally. I'm here in Canada. We've been lucky that this doesn't happen yet. But at some point, if we don't continue to upscale the grids, you know what I mean, this will happen. And refrigeration is a massive suck on energy
Mm.
because you know what I mean, at this point. So we need to make more efficient equipment. Making more efficient equipment is more controls, more electronics, more infrastructure that way. So I think that's one of the biggest things. And I think the first hurdle in some trainings, getting the technicians to go from the mechanical stuff or the light electrical or control stuff to more advanced.
Mm.
But it's just back to training. After I show them how to do it, they're just like, oh man, I didn't think this was so hard. And then doing with the hands on, do a little bit more and consistently. And then I get calls from managers. This guy's crushing it now. And it's like, what did you do, Trevor? I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? I just told them the things that I would do if I was out there today, and they're doing it. And now they're being successful.
I think a lot of time also like you're scared to ask for help, or like you don't want to seem like you're stupid or you should have known this already. So I think you almost make it more accessible for people and on a very like creating like a non-threatening training environment, if I can put it that way. It makes it easier for people to learn and ask questions.
That's one of the things that I have, like this course I did this morning. It's a supermarket course. There was a guy in it that was been over 30 years, but mostly in HVAC, not in supermarket. There was one that was 1.5 years in or a year in. Some people 5 to 7 years. My first thing when I'm doing these private programs or these training programs, I find out what do they need. And like, this course is for you. Who cares who else is in it? Even if your boss is in it, does that even matter to your knowledge? You need to learn something. What is it that you need to learn? If you don't know how to set soup read or check it, tell us. Don't be afraid. And those that are not afraid to admit where their weak points are, those are the people that learn the fastest. I've had them like, I'm terrible at wiring diagrams. And then I ask them, why are you terrible at wiring diagrams? Well, they're the lines I don't understand. Nobody walked me through why. And then I ask why, and it gets down to the point. I don't spend time on it. That's what it comes down to. Like, I'm not spending time learning the hard things because I used to do the same thing. I just avoid it. Drives. Oh, I avoid it. Electrical. Oh, I avoid it. But when I teach them the process, they're like, I didn't know it was this easy. You know what I mean? It does take time, but it's just like having someone guide you. I think that's one of the biggest things that I get feedback on from people all around the world is like, Trevor, you just make it sound so or seem so easy. You take these complex things in refrigeration and then you explain it in a way that it just makes sense. And I think that's the success of Refrigeration Mentor. We keep seeing people just learning refrigeration faster.
I mean, it's a very, very good skill to have because it can get a bit complex sometimes. So I think that is also off-putting.
It is complex. It is complex, but if you're coachable and you have the right guide, it's easy. It's kind of like GPS. That's what I say. Yeah. Like we all used to have maps before. Now we got GPS. You look at the GPS, it takes you from this point to that point. It's the same thing with training. Start at this point and you get this destination you need to go to. Let's go there together.
And it's of course important that you keep your training up to date and keep going back for courses and keep learning. I think a lot of people are letting their training get out of date. So it's also good to go brush up from time to time.
Yeah. Oh, and I agree with that.
I mean, my only question then I have for you still then is like, what advice would you give to someone just starting out in the refrigeration industry today? Because I mean, it sounds like you've had a lot of good mentors along the way as well, and you've learned a lot. So if you could obviously you speak to a lot of people coming into the industry now, but what advice would you give them?
Set some goals. I think that's the biggest thing. Set some goals for yourself. Where do you want to be in 5 years? How much money do you want to make? Where do you want to live? Like these are things that are just not even with refrigeration, but when you can make these goals, do you want to be good at controls? Do you want to be an expert in install? Do you want to be an expert in service? These are the things, setting some goals, writing them down. This is the advice that I give so many people. Anyone coming into my program, the first thing they got to do is write down what's the goals of the program. I need to know. So how do I know the results? Like, did we accomplish that 8-week program? The results, you want to be better at an E2. Did we get there by week 8? I want to be better at troubleshooting on call when a rack's down. Did we get there by week 8? So writing those goals down, I think that's the biggest advice. And a lot of people don't do that. They don't set their goals. Like, do you want to make $100,000 a year? Okay, well, you're starting now at 30,000 or 40,000. How do we get there? Let's reverse engineering that. Okay, well, I need to be good at controls. I need to be good at supermarket. I need to be good at this. Well, how do we get there? How long does it take to get there? Who can train me? Who can teach me? Where one of the big things I see in supermarket refrigeration anyway, it's 24/7. So you could be working 12, 13 hours a day. It's not a lot of time to invest in yourself afterwards. But those that do, and I consistently see it, those that do, their careers are skyrocketing. They're making more money. They're getting the jobs that they want. Dispatch is better. And it's all about building that relationship inside the thing. So I think that's it. And now it's just really learning the technologies out there, like taking the time to invest in learning. But that's writing the goals down. Do you want to be a service manager? When do you want to be a service manager? In 2 years or 5 years? And I have technicians doing it in half the time. Or startup guys. I'm like, what do you want to do? Well, I want to become a startup technician on CO2. Okay, so when do you want to do that by? Will it be good to be done but in a year's time? Write it down. What's the day? You know what I mean? Is it September 15th or what's the day? And it's just get down into that. And those people who start to do that, you see their careers start to take off because they're setting specific attainable goals. And some people make it like, I want to do it in a month. Well, it might be difficult in a month, but don't give up after a month. Just keep going.
I mean, that's really good advice, not just for careers. Goal setting is so important. Okay. I mean, thank you very much. That was very interesting. I look forward to see what next you're doing and what other videos you have. But no, you guys
Yeah,
must keep up
awesome.
the good work. This is we need more
Well,
trainers in the world.
yeah, I do appreciate it. I think so too. So if anybody wants to find out about Refrigeration Mentor, go to refrigerationmentor.com. You can check out if you want free stuff, go to Refrigeration Mentor YouTube channel. We have over 100 different hundreds of CO2 videos, hundreds of supermarket videos. There's like almost 1,000 videos there, as well as on LinkedIn. Connect with us on LinkedIn with lots of posts. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're on all these different platforms sharing educational knowledge and advice. And if you're looking for like a private training program, you can email me at info@refrigerationmentor.com. My team is here to help you build something that works for your company to get the results you're looking for, because this is what it is. It's for us. And me and my team, we talk about this all the time. Is how do we uplift industry refrigeration? How do we help people globally love this industry, get better at this industry, share the knowledge that we share with them to just really help the industry flourish? And we're going to keep doing that.
Thanks so much, Trevor. That's keep up the good work.
Thank you.